Teases regarding the next One Chicago crossover suggest that the franchise is bringing back a long-forgotten tradition during the 2025 to 2026 TV season, and everyone should be looking forward to it. NBC's beloved universe has finally returned to its regularly scheduled programming, aka developing as many crossovers, no matter how big or small, as possible. And the upcoming one is quite exciting, because they are ingrained in One Chicago's DNA. These events are what make it unique. Since it's so exciting to see how all three series are related, the franchise wouldn't be nearly as successful as it is now without crossovers. Fortunately, the tradition of One Chicago crossovers, which are effectively network TV's version of Avengers Endgame, will continue in the fall of 2025. Novak crossing over to Chicago Med hints at a relationship with Frost. Novak and Frost met during the 2025 One Chicago crossover. A few weeks ahead of the One Chicago premieres in fall 2025, TV Line learned from Chicago Fire showrunner Andrea Newman that a crossover is already in the works. In fact, more than one has been planned. According to Newman, Chicago Fire Season 14 and Chicago Med Season 11 will deliver a bunch of mini crossovers, with Lizzie Novak at the center of it all. Novak is expected to be crossing over a bunch with Chicago Med for intriguing reasons. Newman didn't explicitly state why Novak would be appearing in multiple episodes of the medical drama, but one could be able to guess the reasoning. First of all, Novak is one of Firehouse 51's paramedics. She goes to Gaffney all the time while on the job. However, a romance with Dr. John Frost is the more likely explanation behind Novak's growing presence in Chicago Med in Season 11. Sparks flew between Novak and Frost during the 2025 One Chicago crossover. So, with Jack Damon leaving Chicago Fire, the door is now open for Novak to explore new relationships, and she already has an intriguing connection with Frost. Novak and Frost's budding romance resurrects One Chicago's cross-show relationships. The franchise hasn't had a cross-show romance in a long time. One Chicago has a long history of epic inter-show romances, from Stellaride to Berserk, but the franchise is also known for its handful of cross-show relationships. The most famous, of course, is between Chicago Fire's Mouch and Chicago PD's Trudy. The two met in Chicago Fire Season 2, got married at the end of Season 4, and have been together ever since. Aside from Mouch and Trudy, other couples from differing One Chicago TV shows have dated. Chicago Fire's Severide had a brief relationship with Lindsay from Chicago PD, and he later had a fling with his childhood friend, April. April first appeared in the original series, but after her introduction, she joined the cast of Chicago Med ahead of its premiere. Additionally, Gabby formed a fleeting connection with Halstead in Chicago Fire. But he soon joined the intelligence unit in the Chicago PD series premiere, ending their relationship. Gabby's brother, Antonio, who starred in Chicago PD, also dated Brett from Chicago Fire for a short while in the procedural drama's 6th season before they broke up. So, it has been a while since the One Chicago universe has introduced a new cross-show romance. The last one involved Brett and Antonio, and they split 7 years ago. It's high time for One Chicago to resurrect this tradition, and thankfully, it seems like NBC and the producers are doing so via Novak and Frost in Chicago Med. Why cross-show romance in One Chicago is exciting. The connection between all three shows is what makes the franchise so special. As anyone could see, cross-show romances in the One Chicago universe rarely work out. In fact, they hardly reach a serious stage. Mouch and Trudy, who are arguably the franchise's best couple, even including inter-show romances, are the exception. These types of relationships are still fun, though, as the audience gets to see characters who never interact meet and form a connection. No one could have predicted that Mouch and Trudy would form a deep bond. However, they did, and it was a joy to watch them fall in love and become the strong couple they are today. Flings are fun, too. They're also more practical, given that having a character regularly appear in 2 series for a long period of time is asking too much. Perhaps Novak and Frost's romance, if the theory behind why Novak would cross over to Chicago Med so much is correct, will only end up being temporary. They could have their fun and then return to their respective shows. Novak has been clear about not wanting a serious relationship after all. Frost also hasn't been looking for a long-time commitment. However, there's a chance that Novak and Frost will develop a strong bond that leads to something more. They could decide they want a serious relationship, which would be exciting because the franchise hasn't had one of those, at least between two different series since Mouch and Trudy. Only time will tell what One Chicago has planned for Novak and Frost, though. The 3-1 Chicago TV series return on Wednesday, October 1st, 2025, on NBC. They follow the same schedule as last year, with Chicago Med Season 11 premiering at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Chicago Fire Season 14 at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, and Chicago PD Season 13 at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe my sister wives to our channel and stay with TS.